Hello, everyone. I hope that you're doing amazing wherever you are in the world. My name is Shikha, and I welcome you to my channel. In this one, I wanted to speak to you about knowledge sharing and something that I've been noticing for myself, at least, and I know this is kind of true for a lot of INFJs out there, and we really have to tamp down on this urge that we have to share knowledge. Let me just start with a story. So recently I have been trying to really control this urge that I have to share knowledge or ideas or suggestions or advice with other people, because I've been noticing that other people get irritated by this tendency that I have. And I don't want to irritate people, because I'm trying to do it because I want to do good for them. I want them to be happy and I want them to be happier, and I think that the knowledge that I share with them is going to make them happier. But what ends up happening, as I said in a lot of cases, is that they just don't want to talk to me anymore, or they look visibly annoyed. And in a lot of cases, as you might have noticed as well, people are complaining not because they want you to suggest a solution to them. It's because they just want to vent. They just want to get that stuff out of themselves, and they just want to talk. They just want to complain. They want to whine. They want to moan. They want to just whinge. They want to get it all out, and they believe that they deserve to complain because they have a hard life. So when you give them advice about something that they could do to improve that situation, they get annoyed with you because that's not what they want to hear. They want to hear placating words like, yes, you're right, you have a really hard life, yes, you're a victim, like not exactly in those words, but yes, you are a victim, and yes, you have a hard life, and I understand, and I'm sorry you have to deal with all this stuff, and I can't believe how hard your life is, and things like that. That's what they want to hear. They don't want to hear a solution to their problems. They don't want to hear, oh, this is fixable, here, this is what you do, and your life is going to be fixed. That is not what they want to hear, because that means that they have to stop complaining about that item. And then what are they going to do with their time? I mean, that's their story. That's how they spend all of their time. That's how they spend all of their mental efforts and their energies. And so if you take that away from them, who are they anymore? Nothing. I mean, and then they have to find something else to replace that gap, that hole that's left behind. And they don't want to do that. They're happy with the story that they've made up for themselves right now. They're very satisfied with it. And you're going to take that away from them? How dare you do that, right? And so, at first I would be really annoyed by this, of course, because as an INFJ, we always want to be on the other side of this. We want to not play the victim. Mostly, we don't want to play the victim. I know many INFJs who do play the victim role as well, because this is just a pervasive thing in our society. We just pretend like we're powerless when we're not, and we pretend like we can do nothing to change our situation, but we can, because it's easier that way. And I understand completely. I did that for the longest time. My 20s were all about that victimhood. Oh, woe is me, my life is sucky, and my parents are to blame, or society is to blame, or my height is to blame. It's because I'm too tall. Oh, it's because I'm too brown, or it's because I'm too fair. Whatever it might be, I might make up all of these freaking scenarios in my head. None of it is actually true, but if it's in my head, it's true for me, right? And so I know that rote. I know that situation of playing that victim role, and I've done it for the longest time. Thankfully, I'm out of it now, but I understand where they're coming from. When you're not ready to get out of that mentality, you're not going to get out of it just because someone tells you to get out of it, or just because someone gives you a solution to your problems, no matter how easy it is to fix, right? You don't want to hear that. And so, as I said, instead of being annoyed by these people because they're playing this role, I decided, okay, you know what, it's not my responsibility. It is their responsibility to take care of their life, not my responsibility to give them any feedback if they don't want it. If I don't want to listen to them whining and complaining, then I can just avoid hanging out with them. But that doesn't mean that I need to give them advice every single time I do meet up with them, right? Because they don't want it, and I'm wasting my efforts by giving them advice. Interestingly enough, when I said that to myself, and I stopped giving advice. I tried to stop giving advice. It was so difficult for me. I was literally like, I just wanna help. just want to help. And it would just be at the tip of my tongue. I'm like, but you could. And I would really always have to just stop myself and like really control myself. Like, I was like, it was so difficult. It was as if I was using superhuman strength not to say anything. And I noticed this many times throughout the weeks that came after, that I want to say something and I have to really like draw back and say, no, don't do it. You say you're not going to do it, you're not going to do it. And it was so difficult, right? It was so difficult to wait until the person asked me, hey, can you give me some advice on this? And then I would just vomit it out, right? Because I was so eagerly waiting to tell them, this is how you should do it. And I realized from that aspect of myself, noticing my eagerness to share, that it is literally in our DNA. Maybe it's actually a common thing across people, but I really don't think so, because I see a lot of people who are happy to let people just complain and whine and not give them any advice. They just sit back and listen. And I'm just amazed by that, I'm trying to be that. So of course, I don't think it's a universal thing in human beings. Yes, we want to help, we want to share, we want to. That's why we have blogs. That's why we have these vlogs. That's why we have YouTube channels, because people have just, with knowledge, whatever knowledge we have, we want to tell people because we think that it's going to help people. It's going to make their lives better. Every single time I read a book that I love, I'm always like, oh, I want to tell someone about this. I know it's going to help them so much. And so we have this innate desire in us, but I really feel that it's amplified to a bazillion degrees in an INFJ, because we just are so eager. We're just so filled with this enthusiasm to, like, this vigor to just kind of just help people, right? And we truly believe that knowledge is power. We really truly believe that. That's why we're constantly consuming knowledge, as if if we didn't consume knowledge for a single day, we would die. This is how a lot of my INFJ friends and I behave. We have to constantly be consuming information. We're constantly watching YouTube videos. We're constantly listening to podcasts. We're constantly reading books just to get all that information inside of us. We're constantly doing that, If a day goes by without me consuming knowledge, it feels like, what did I do today? I just wasted the whole day away. Even if I can get 15 minutes of a podcast or an audiobook in at the end of the day, I've had a long day, I haven't had any time, but I'll spend maybe 15 minutes before I fall asleep listening to an audiobook. That'll make me feel a lot better. I'm like, all right, cool, at least I listened to 15 minutes of an audiobook. That's great. So we have this like innate desire, as I said. We just want to consume knowledge, but not only for the sake of consuming knowledge. We're not doing it just for fun, partly for fun, but mostly because we know that every single time we find a new piece of information, it is able to help us in a certain manner. So if we are trying to fix our diet and we read somewhere that don't eat refined carbs like sugary snacks or pasta or rice after 6 p.m. You read that and you're able to apply it to your life, and it does help you lose belly fat or whatever you were trying to do. You're so excited about it because you're like, yes, I got this information, I applied it to my life, which is paramount for an INFJ. We just don't want to talk about it, we want to apply things. And we applied it and it worked. Wowza. Okay, we're in that mode of, okay, it worked for me, maybe it'll work for you, I must share it with everyone. That's why you've probably seen a lot of my videos where I did liver flushes and I just went, I was like, I'm going to share this information with the world. I'm going to tell everyone to do liver flushes. And I do. I tell almost everyone I meet to liver flushes. A lot of people haven't even asked me for this information. That's what I'm saying, They're not ready for it. But I'm just so excited about it. And so this is what we do. We kind of consume information so we can improve our lives. When we're able to improve our lives because of specific tidbit of information, whatever it might be, then we want to share it with the entire universe as much as possible. We'll tell it to everyone we meet. If we're at a gas station and there's a gas station attendant there, we'll tell him or her. If we're in a taxi or in a cab or in an Uber, we want to tell the person who's driving us, did you know? If we're kind of randomly sitting on a park bench and someone sits down next to us, we want to tell them about this information. So we are just so eager for it. And I really noticed this, as I said, when I stopped doing that is when I really noticed how natural it is for me, how normal it is for me to just disseminate this information to everyone that I meet. And if I wasn't able to do it, it felt literally it felt very suffocating and stifling, actually. Of course, the people around me were very happy because, like, oh, thank God, you're not giving me advice. Interestingly enough, a lot of them actually, if I didn't give them advice, they would actually, at the end of their complaining or whining, they would actually ask me, so what do you think? What do you think I should do about this? At that point, of course, I was allowed to give them advice, and I did, and it was nice. I was very grateful that I got the chance to share my information with them. Mostly what I do when I'm giving advice is I give them book recommendations. I think this book, you would love it. I think it would really help you in this situation. Or I'll send them to a podcast, or I'll tell them about this particular expert that I follow that's really good at fixing that particular situation, whatever it might be. I'm usually recommending that kind of stuff. And then during the day, if something comes up in my feed and I see it and I'm like, this would be really perfect for this question that this person asked, I will send it to them instantly. So I'm constantly, kind of culling through information. For example, one of my friends is obsessed with her skincare routine and her face. She is constantly looking for products. So every single time I see something that shows up in my feed that says, oh, face care or skincare, I'll just send it to her right away. My sister, on the other hand, she's constantly interested in growing her hair further. She has very thin hair and she's constantly dealing with hair loss, so she's constantly looking for products that can help with that. So anytime I see a product on my feed, I'm like constantly sending instantaneous. I'm like, that's her, right? And this is just a constant thing with everyone that I know. Everyone has a certain thing that they're interested in. I'm constantly like, oh, this is something that would interest Savannah, or this is something that would interest Sharon. I just constantly send things out because I want people to have this information so they can use it to improve themselves, to improve their lives. So I wanted to share this because I know you're probably in the same boat as me. If you're an INFJ, you have this kind of innate desire, this kind of desire that you can't sometimes stop to share information with people. And I've said this many times before, do not give advice to people who are not asking for it. I know we do it all the time. It's just not conducive to good relationships, I've noticed. People get annoyed by us very frequently, and then I think we also make them resentful of us, because whenever you're giving advice to someone, it's kind of like you're putting yourself on a higher pedestal than them. You're not doing it consciously, but it's just the way it is perceived, because if you're giving advice to someone else, you are in some respect better than them in that situation, or you've dealt with it already and you've kind of surpassed it, and so you're kind of creating a power relationship where you're in power over them, and people don't like that. They just don't like it. So as I said, try as much as possible to hold back, hold back, rein it back as much as possible, and when they ask for it, because they will, people are not all the time interested in just complaining. Some of them actually do want to improve their lives, and so when they ask, then give them the advice. If they don't ask, don't give it, and kind of maybe use my technique where you just send people information on Facebook or on Messenger or something, things related to what they actually care about. People really respond to that, so it's not advice. You're just sharing useful tidbits with them, and that works really well as well. I hope this helps. I don't know if it does. Let me know. And let me know what you do when you are trying to subtly give advice to people without annoying them. Again, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being on my channel. I really appreciate all of the new subscribers. I'm grateful to all of you, and I am really happy that I get to keep on doing this for a long time to come, hopefully. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.